Yo, what's good, everybody? And thank you for tuning in to another Tyler Perry Sistas review. If this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning family member, then you already know what it is and what it always will be. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell somebody to tell somebody if you choose to. But if not, just sit back, relax while we get into this thing. I'm not going to call it messy because we're dealing with, something heavy. You guys see the thumbnail. So we're going to be talking about this deep revelation that Fatima unveiled to Danny.
I hate that Karen lost the baby. Danny, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I wouldn't. But part of me was relieved when the stillborn was sex.
Before I go into the video, let me just say so that you understand the context in which I am coming from. I am an individual who believes that everyone has the right to feel how they feel. I also am an individual who believes that everyone's feelings are valid. Even though your feelings are valid, it is not an excuse to do anything harmful or destructive, whether it be in speech or in deed or by action. That's what I believe. So you kind of understand where I'm coming from. Now, there are going to be people who disagree with that. That's perfectly fine. It don't matter. that's how I view it, and you can view something completely different because I wanted to say that before I got into this video. Now, I believe that Fatima has every right to feel how she feels. Those are her feelings. However, there is a consequence to expressing those feelings or thoughts verbally or in the way that she chooses to act them out. Unfortunately, but fortunately, in my opinion, Zach was able to hear exactly how Fatima felt regarding his child. What Fatima spoke to Danny were her innermost thoughts. There were things that she was already in a tug of war with because I'm sure before Fatima spoke the words, she heard these words in her spirit like, nah, maybe I shouldn't say this out loud. And I agree with that thought. Baby, you shouldn't have said it out loud. But since you did, we're here. And there are so many things to break down before it even came out of Fatima's mouth. So when we get to the conversation with Danny and Fatima, I already had issues with some of the terms they were using to describe the nature of Zach. And I hate when people make me defend Zachary Taylor, but damn it, I got to. I really do. When Fatima was asking Danny, I know you and Zach are close. I knew then this conversation was about to go left because I have seen Fatima do this before. Whether people want to admit it or not, anytime that Fatima would talk to Andy about Karen, she will always preface it with something before she would get into the nitty gritty of what she wanted to reveal. And so I see her do this with Danny, so I automatically knew something was about to come out of her mouth that I was gonna have a problem with. But that's just me. She asked Danny, when you saw him, how was he? Did something happen? Danny says, he was in his feelings, but when I left, he was fine. No, he was not. So the thing that gets me is Zach is in a grieving process, early stages of grieving. He's not in his feelings. He is not off. He was not okay. And so I'm watching these two have this conversation, and immediately I'm thinking I need for the writers to right for Fatima to not only know but to acknowledge and understand that Zach is grieving the loss of his child. He's not off, he's not acting weird, he's not acting, he's not normal. He's grieving. Now, I do understand when we get in relationships with people or certain dynamics with people, we don't think about hardships. We don't think about them experiencing loss. We kind of form and fashion our minds to think about the good things, the good times, jubilee experiences that are just, warm and fuzzy to the spirit, but not when you get into the grooves of things that don't always feel good. And when those moments come, we may not always know how to handle it. We may not always know how to maneuver through it. But I believe it's our due diligence to make sure that we are aware and understand where that person is coming from. So when I think about the character of Zach, I just believe that those around him have not created a safe space for him to be vulnerable in how he feels, that he can verbally express, this is what I'm dealing with, which is one of the reasons why I believe he shuts down with Fatima, because it's not a safe place for him. And even after what he heard, it's definitely not a safe place for him. That's why I believe there is refuge found whenever he speaks to Karen. And I'm going to hold off on that because I got another video about that. So as they go through, Fatima tells Danny, I wouldn't wish this on anybody for Karen to lose her baby, but I was relieved when it was Zach's baby that was stillborn. That's so heavy. Like, I went back and watched that scene a few times. That is such a heavy revelation to unveil. And I have an issue with the person that Fatima expressed that to. But I had to think about it for a moment. Danny created a culture or an atmosphere for Fatima to feel comfortable in expressing that. And it goes all the way back, I believe, to either season 6 or 7. I can't really remember right now, when the women went to the mocktail and Karen asked Danny, do not invite Fatima, don't want her there. Now, she's good and pregnant at this time. Danny didn't give a damn. And I don't believe that Danny was more so trying to be a friend to Fatima. I think she was just trying to piss Karen off. That's my opinion. However, Fatima and Danny were having like a conversation underneath their breath about the paternity of Karen's baby right there in front of her. So you created this space for Fatima to feel comfortable talking to you about your friend. That's why I say, and I have said it several times, a lot of y'all have said it several times, that these women are not friends. However, it's supposed to be applauded that Danny and Fatima are friends. No, I can't get down with that. We'll never get down with that, especially the way how I see Danny move. Now, the writers portrayed Danny to be this person. I'm not leaving Karen's side while they were in the hospital. I'm going to be the sister that stayed. Even the episode 2 weeks ago where Danny and Andy came over, Danny made sure that Karen ate. She made sure that she took a shower, took the girl's shoes off, socks off, everything. Was really being that sister that I have yet ever to see her be. So it did warm my heart to see that interaction. But I knew that was not going to last long, because what I said on Our Sister's Keeper was, why the hell does Fatima even feel comfortable in saying this to Danny? Now, granted, we did not hear Danny's response to what Fatima revealed to her. And to me, there's only one response. And if this is not the response that we get next week, Danny can kiss my ass for the duration of Sistas. And I mean that it would never be a sunny day for her in my eyes. It's nothing that Danny would be able to do to redeem herself as an associate, as a friend. Just move this heifer off, let her and Fatima, keep their friendship, because there is no way in hell. If Danny don't come at Fatima the way she need to come at Fatima, first of all, as Fatima shares this information, yes, it was Zach's baby that was stillborn, but it was Karen who lost her baby. That was Danny's godchild. There is no way. I don't care how cool you think we are, how I've never shared anything before. There is no way that you would be able to say that to me and believe that I'm not going to cuss your ass out. Period. There's no excuse. There is no excuse for that. But there are some questions that I have. Fatima said that she was relieved. Now, there are a whole lot of assumptions. There are a whole lot of things, floating around social media. I don't want to assume. I need to know the reason that Fatima is relieved. Because her and Karen was in a great place. Karen even told her, I don't mind if my daughter call you Mama Tima. So I need to understand, what is she relieved about? Fatima stated seasons ago that she wanted to be the only woman that bared Zach's children. And I know there have been a lot of videos where people have gone back to pull things that Karen has said to, I guess, justify the reason she's acting this way toward her baby. Forget that she's grieving. Forget that she almost died. Forget that she's going through postpartum depression. But Karen said she didn't want to have a baby by Aaron anyway. So she definitely don't want to deal with his child. So if we're going to use that same principle, if Fatima stated that I want to be the only woman to have Zach's children, and Zach's baby died, does that mean that she is happy that the baby doesn't exist anymore? Because I want to be the only one anyway. Hell, Michael already exists. I can't do nothing about that. But anyone that comes after that, I don't want it to be here. So maybe Fatima didn't expect the experience to happen, but the end result is what she wanted because she didn't want anyone else to have a child by Zach but her. So if we're going to use that for one person, then we're going to use it for this person as well. Also, I can't even lie. When I saw Zach come down those stairs and for him to hear what Fatima said, for him to shake his head and just go back upstairs, I really felt for that brother. Now, I don't know how the writers are going to write this out because y'all know I don't trust them at all. I don't, especially depending upon who's writing the episode. I don't trust them at all. But what Fatima said to me, I can't even fathom coming down and hearing that and then pretend like everything is okay between us. I could understand why he went upstairs. Maybe it wasn't the time for him to say something. Maybe, if Fatima is still pregnant as well. So maybe he's trying to be cautious about how he responds to that. But there has to be a response. There has to be a conversation. There has to be communication regarding what he heard Fatima say about his child. Also, when Fatima was talking to Danny and she said, that Zach, he's off. And then also for her to reveal that she's relieved. So my thing is, imagine how he feels. You're relieved that his baby was stillborn. He's not. He's hurting. He's sad. He's disappointed. He's grieving. So imagine how you feel times 1,000, how he feels, but also in the opposite direction. So it's just interesting. There has been a lot of conversation. Even people who I know who rock with Fatima, who is a stan. Oh, a lot of them, not everybody. Because some people, I don't care what she said. I'm glad the baby gone too. We get them. We got those. And then we have those who truly have been incredibly bothered by the statement that Fatima made. And like I said, for me, I really wasn't bothered because I ain't going to say I didn't expect her to feel that way. But like I said, everybody can feel how they feel. I just felt that should have been a conversation that Fatima had with God, her mom, her therapist, or Angela. It should have never been Danny. Because then I think about the predicament you put Danny in. Because why would you reveal that to her? Someone who's close to Zach. And this is the thing that got me. When she was like, I know you and Zach are close. I said, you can't. There is no way in hell you can tell me, I know you and Zach close. And then you say what the hell you say. Her and Karen have been in each other's lives since college. And for you to say what the hell you said, why did Fatima believe that Danny was the best person for her to reveal that to? That's why I say Fatima needs her own friends. Okay, I'm sorry. Fatima needs her own friends. Any other time, writers, y'all want to bring Angela ass, don't she work on the next floor? Y'all bring her ass to come down here. Why if there was any time, for Angela to pop up on Sistas, it should have been last episode. That should have been the person that Fatima revealed that to, not Danny. I said, baby, y'all messy? Writers, y'all are messy, baby, because ain't no way in hell. So I'm patiently waiting for next week's episode because I saw in the end credits trailer as well as the extended trailer, they didn't show anything between Fatima and Danny. So I'm interested to see what the hell happens after she expresses, herself to Danny. What does Danny say? If I ain't never in my life been more interested and glued in on a response from Daniela King, oh baby, it's now. And I'm going to just go on record and say it. If Danny don't get into Fatima's ass, not for how she feels, because you feel how you feel, but you tell me this. Me, the person who watched my friend. Oh, God, I can't. Let me tell y'all something. Baby, I can't even imagine. Yes, Fatima was there for Karen, got her to the hospital, held her hand. She was there for her until she got into the hospital room. But the things that transpired afterwards, Fatima did not directly witness that. So to express that to someone who was in the trenches with Karen during that time, I don't even understand the boldness to express that to Danny. I really don't. So writers, I can't even give y'all too much because y'all just always find a way. And I don't even get pissed off like that in my real life. But baby, y'all find a way to piss me off with this nonsense of writing that you guys do. And also, I'm interested to see how Zach responds to the revelation of Fatima. And I will say this. I think one of the differences between Fatima and Aaron when it comes to watching their partners grieve is that Aaron was honest with Karen about how he felt with her calling their child the baby, not calling her by her name. He expressed that in a loving way, but it was also direct and there was no type of deceit there. I think with Fatima and Zach, just the inability of Fatima to acknowledge the grief, for Fatima to be honest in the grief, for Fatima not to want to rush Zach through his grief. She, we saw on this past week's episode, you trying to feed the grief away, trying to massage the grief out, you're trying to hunch the grief out. It doesn't work that way. And I understand she doesn't like seeing her man like that, no more than Aaron likes seeing his woman like that. But you have to understand this is their process. And I have received so many messages about Karen and Zach just need to let it go. They already had closure. It ain't about closure. They still have to go through their grieving process. But like I probably have told 25 people this that have came in my DMs. Ain't this what you wanted? Didn't y'all want the child to pass? Didn't y'all want the child to die? Didn't y'all not want there to be a connection? And like I said months ago, baby, be careful what you ask for because it wasn't going to be what a lot of people thought. And we're seeing the remnants of that. Connection don't end because a baby is gone. Connection doesn't end because people wish and want it to end. It's life. You got to go through it. And right now, Karen and Zach are going through it. And I don't think we have seen the last of Zach and Karen communicating because no one understands them but each other. So we going to see. Yep, be careful what you ask for. But I want to thank you guys for listening. Until next time, I will holler at y'all later and y'all be safe out there.